Thank you for coming. I'm glad that we have everyone.
I was in Seattle. I had flown out to help my daughter, but I think I got exposed at work. Because when I called work, no, 3 other people at work had gotten it too. And we all had mild symptoms.
Were you all sitting together in a coffee shop?
No, we were all in the same department though.
Yeah.
So we probably all saw the same patient who gave it to us.
Wow.
Good evening. Welcome to the Danvers Conservation Commission meeting for August the 14th. We as a commission operate under the Massachusetts General Law, Chapter 131, Section 40, the Wetlands Protection Act, and Chapter 26 of the Town of Danvers General Bylaws, the Wetlands Protection Bylaw. After each applicant presents his or her request and the board has had time to ask questions and discuss the project, we will accept questions from the audience. Because this is a public meeting, it is required by law that you give your name and your address before you speak. Although we may disagree on issues raised, all persons present during this meeting are expected to be civil to all of the meeting attendees. This includes members of the commission, staff, abutters, concerned citizens, property owners, and project applicants. We also request that you confine your questions to the project and only as it pertains to the Wetlands Act. We cannot handle, nor do we have jurisdiction of matters such as noise or traffic. All problems not related to the Wetlands Protection Act and the Town of Danvers Wetlands Protection Bylaw must be taken up with the other appropriate boards. Our first order of business tonight would be a roll call. Peter Wilson is present. Lorraine Drapek.
Present.
Mary Haight.
Present.
And Michael Splain.
Yeah.
Present. So we have all 4 members, and I'm hearing that we have another one on the way. But we'll get to that at the end. The first order on our agenda is a request for a certificate of compliance on Summer Street, the culvert replacement. The DEP file number was 14-1419. The applicant was the Town of Danvers. And is someone representing the town here tonight?
Good evening. Bill Casey with Arcadis, project manager for the Town of Danvers on this project. This is the Summer Street culvert replacement. And this work was completed the tail end of last year, so forgive the cold weather pictures, but this is a post-construction view of the culvert. It's essentially a replacement of a pipe across the road here, a new manhole structure, and stabilization of the slope of the downstream channel. This is a drainage area that drains Strawberry Hill Lane area, and the outlet is right beyond this fence line here. In this presentation, it's very brief, but if we go to the next page, this is just a overall site plan. It's at the intersection roughly of Summer Street and Lima Street and Strawberry Hill Lane. We'll go to the next one. And really the catalyst for the project was it was an old corrugated metal pipe that had corroded, and the corrosion had really washed out the soil and caused a failure along the sidewalk here. And so the point of the project was to really replace that old pipe, maintaining the same capacity as there was before. Certainly probably a little bit improved because the pipe was kind of squashed. And then put in a new concrete head wall and then stabilize the downstream slope here as well. If you go to the next couple of slides, if you will, are more just final construction. We'll go back to that.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, it's okay. So this is a concrete head wall that was installed in here. Some slope stabilization with some riprap along the way. The drainage pipe ended up being 2 HDPE pipes, so essentially plastic pipes. They'll stand the test of time. Those are tying in of a few existing catch basins here and connection into this head wall structure. Sidewalk has been repaved. The area had been restored, and the neighbor's lawn had been resodded. And pavement in the street had been replaced as well. We go up to the next. So these are just additional photos from different angles. You can see is the 2 main culvert pipes. This is a connection from existing drain, and then there was another existing drain that came across in this area here. And this is the head wall of the distance here. Go to the next one. Just different views. This was just up the road a piece. There was existing basin here and existing basin here. They were both in rough shape. This piping had originally connected into the side of the culvert. Under this improved condition, we ran a new pipe across the road, reset a couple of new structures here, and maintained the same alignment of that outlet as well. Go to the next one, I think shows the as-built plan view, which is also in your packet, and this is a request for a certificate of compliance for this project. Here, this is just an overall plan view, new piping across the road, head wall in this condition, the house is at this structure here, reconnection of this piping, and then riprap on the side. This side had already had significant riprap, so there was no need for slope stabilization there. And that's all there was.
Wasn't there an amendment to this to add more riprap?
There was, yeah. As we got into it, I think that was this section here was found to be undermined, and so I think it was an additional 50 feet of riprap that got added at that point.
Okay, so everything's tidied up.
Yep.
Okay, I have no further questions. Mike, any?
Just, it's performing like it should.
Yeah, I mean, we were actually really fortunate during the installation of this. It was particularly dry period at the end of last year, but Renee is.
Yeah. And the picture before the as-built.
Sure.
Could you go back to the one before that? Yeah. So on the right, is that a storm drain?
It is, yeah.
Now, is that at an angle?
The structure itself, this should be flat. This is probably a slight berm. This roadway has a crest to it, so this side of the roadway would drain this way. In the distance, there is a basin here on this, and the roadway would drain that way. And then the piping would kind of collect it below grade, if you will.
Okay, thank you. That's all I had.
Very
Lorraine,
good.
any questions?
No questions.
No?
Okay,
Mary?
I'm good.
great. Thank you.
I guess this is just the vote to issue the order, is that correct? All right, so we can make a motion, we can issue a certificate of compliance.
I make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance for DEP number 14-1419.
I'll second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, you're all set, thank you. Next up is a request for a partial certificate of compliance for 30 Sherwood Ave, DEP file number 14-1429. And the applicant is Alex Shook and North Shore Real Estate Solutions. Is there,
Hi, this is Kathleen. I'm his wife. He can't be available this evening, so I don't have anything prepared, so I'm not exactly sure what you need from me. Oh.
Can someone just give a summary of the whole
Yeah, I
project?
What do we know about it?
Yeah, I can give a summary. The applicant was issued an order of conditions in January of this year. The work was paving the driveway, patio reconstruction, establishing a lawn, stormwater management, native landscaping. Kathy and her husband have since sold the property. They have the as-built. Everything has been built in compliance. There are, however, 2 outstanding conditions for 2 growing seasons on the plantings. The new homeowners are aware of that, so they'll be coming back in about a year and a half to finish out the rest of it. So this is just for, basically to close out everything except for the plantings, is what Kathy and Alex are looking to do.
Okay, so like you said, everything's been done
Yep.
as proposed.
Everything's been done,
And
no
I think
concerns.
the conditions that we have to pass along to the owners are relevant to the plantings and how well they survive.
Correct.
And I think there's a bond.
Yeah.
But there is, yep, and I've spoken to the homeowner about that
But
too.
the homeowners are aware of the bond, and
They
the
are.
bond will go back to the homeowners.
Yes.
After the 2 years is up. So-
So is the bond stay?
Yeah, the new homeowners took out a bond, so it's,
So
and they're
took a
the
new
ones, so
bond.
they'll get it back when it gets closed out. Yep, so that's all taken care of too.
Okay, and are these people, is the house turned over, is the new people living in it?
Yes.
Yes,
Not that it
they are.
matters. Okay, I don't really have any other questions, as long as everything as they do what they say they're going to do. Mike, do you have any questions
No.
further? Lorraine?
No, no questions.
Mary?
No, I'm good.
Okay. Someone can make a motion. We'll issue the order of the certificate of compliance for these folks.
I'll attempt to make the motion. A motion to issue a partial certificate of compliance for 30 Sherwood Avenue, DEP number 14-1429, for all conditions except special conditions 12 and 13. Do you want those read, or?
No, that's okay.
That's okay?
Just,
Okay.
those are the same conditions that are on the order
Yeah.
of
Yes,
conditions.
yep, correct.
Yeah, the motion's been made. Is there a second? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay,
All right, thank
good,
you.
you're all set.
Thank you.
Next up is a notice of intent for 12 and 17 Cherry Hill Drive, DEP file number 14-1438, and the applicant is Millipore. And here to represent
evening.
Millipore is,
Jill Mann from the Office of Man and Man, Middleton, Massachusetts. Here with me this evening is Mark Baker from Millipore, the representative for the company. Also Thad Berry from ASB, the site design engineer and civil engineer for the stormwater. Also Maureen Harold from Norse Engineering, the wetland scientist in connection with the project. And then also we have our site contractor, Bob Atanzio, in attendance as well. Welcome back, Mr. Spillane. So last time we were here, you wanted for us to provide you with a more detailed planting plan, which we had done, in fact. We had given you a list from Maureen telling you the species that could actually be elected. It depends sometimes on availability and also if something's happened to that particular species, so she gave you a range. We gave you the number of trees, the distance, the number of shrubs. So for example, on 12 Cherry, we have a total of 17 trees and 44 shrubs going in the area of your jurisdiction. And then with regard to 17, we have 10 trees and 27 shrubs. Obviously, when people come out, if Emily comes out and looks at the project and needs adjustments or things moved and or added, then we do that in the field. That's very common, but that's the base that we have currently. I'm happy to say that the planning board did sign off and issue approval to us. I'm also happy to report that we have been in communication with the engineering department, and after going back and forth and even having emails and telephone conversations today, I believe that Mr. King from the engineering department basically issued his sign off and now is basically waiting for us to submit our full stormwater management plan so that we can get our stormwater management permit, because as this board knows, our requirement is to actually install those as our first step. Just, if I may, I'm just going to go over very briefly what we talked about last time, just for the benefit of Mr. Spillane. Is that?
Yeah, I watched the hearing.
Oh, you did? Okay, so I mean, I don't really, then you know what we did. When we had our site walk, there was a lot of concern over the fact that we had pavement in the area. So we took the parking spaces out completely. 12 Cherry has no pavement in the 35 or 50 foot.
Remember that area I pointed out?
Yep.
You removed that.
Yep, we did. So that, and you were right, it was such a small area, there was no reason not to manage the site and manipulate it. Sometimes we don't do that, we just create and then we're like, okay, yeah, there's a little sliver, but we did manage that and we pulled it out. We ended up, having to lose a couple of parking spaces, but that was fine. We can handle that within the count that we already have. And then when we went over to 17 Cherry, we were even more attentive. Do you mind, Emily, going to the next page? We were more attentive to the area of pavement, because if you recall, we had a 2-lane park, or maybe again I don't remember what sheet it is. Oh, this is perfect, if you would. I think this is the new one. Yes, it is.
Okay.
So we had 2-way traffic on that particular parking field. And in order to minimize the amount of intrusion, we made it 1-way traffic, and then we were able to redesign the lot itself. And what you see here is a single lane in, out. And that allowed us to pull the area out. It used to be hundreds of square feet. I think it was almost 800 square feet of pavement in there. And because of this lane, we ended up having a 54-foot sliver of pavement in there, but that is it. Everything else has been pulled out of the 50-foot. We did include, the invasive species. One of the questions that was asked at the meeting is, are you going to take down, I think it was your question, Are you going to take down all the native trees? And absolutely not. When we go in, we'll actually flag with a ribbon. We'll flag the native species and the native trees, and those will remain. The things that will be taken care of are the invasives, and that, again, is in that planting plan. And that really sums it up. I mean, we are pretty excited about the project. We appreciate your input because, honestly, I think you made it a better project. And at this point, if you have questions, if you'd like me to go over something in detail, if you'd like to speak to either Maureen or Thad, we're here for you.
Just, if we could just be brought up to speed on the back and forth with the stormwater. I think that's why we continued last time. So if you could just give us an update, either you or Emily.
Sure. So there was a lot of back and forth with Stephen King, with the engineering team, and ultimately by 4:30 this afternoon, with lots of phone calls, we came to a resolution where Stephen King and the engineering team are happy with working out the final grading and contouring through the stormwater permit, so that won't hold up issuing an order of conditions. They're, as far as Concom goes, they're satisfied with everything.
What did they do to refine it or to get?
I can
I think
explain.
Attorney Mann can speak.
Absolutely, that's a great question. So what ended up happening is the engineering department was very concerned that
With runoff, right?
more importantly, with the peak volume of runoff, because I guess the town of Danvers just had a restoration project where you repaired a lot of your banks going down to, I think Frostbrook Frostbrook, okay, going down,
Ongoing project.
so they were very concerned about the bank, and what you do is if you have an increase in that peak flow, so then you can have bank intrusion. So what we had done, and even in the original design, what we did was we reduced slightly that peak flow. And then when we spoke to, or actually communicated via Emily with Steve, there was a concern that we should reduce it more. So what we did was kept the limit of work. We did not disturb any more areas. Everything you see on your Concom, it stays the same. But we were able to actually manage some of the contours within the ponding. So, for example, in here, to make the ponds a little bit more, hold more capacity. So if you're able to retain and hold that volume, then it releases over time, and you're able to reduce the amount of peak flow at a given time, so you avoid basically erosion, unnecessary erosion. And what we did with Steve King is we gave him a plan and saying, look, here's what the volume is, and here's how we were able to reduce the peak. And we were able to reduce the peak by, in some instances, half. I mean, we really were able to, for the post.
So that's all by going into this pond and
Yep. So what ends up happening is the ponds, we just make them larger, so it holds, so that you don't have that rush of water. And that's what Steve liked.
Disturbance within that area? That's within our...
Nope, it would all be part of this plan anyway, and then it'll be part of the stormwater permit, so it'll all be covered in there.
Okay. All right, good. Good that you could do that. Okay, where were we at? I just kind of went at you with some questions, but
Well,
Mike, you have more questions?
Well, I know, I think that when we were doing the walkthrough, it was said that the amount of work that you were doing in the area was like $250,000 worth of work.
Oh, yeah.
You know, for the, in the wetlands area and the trees. And I think we should have a bond of 10% of that, like 25,000.
To make sure we do the work, Mark?
Yeah.
You're good, right?
Get to work and make sure that the mitigation, the plantings that you make.
Other than that, I'm all fine with it.
Yeah, I mean, you want to make sure the work's done according to your plans.
Yeah.
Mr. Baker, I just want to confirm? Okay, Mr. Baker is the boss, and he said yes.
Good, that's always good to hear. So that's quick, are you have for questions?
No, I'm good.
Lorraine, do you have any questions? No? Mary?
Thank you.
Is there any public input? Seeing none? All right, so we have three things to vote on here. We have to vote to close the public hearing, so if someone can make a motion to do that, we can.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for 12 and 17 Cherry Hill Drive, DEP number 14-1438.
A second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up, we have to grant a waiver to allow work in the 50 no-build zone, the 58 square feet that she mentioned. So If someone can make a motion, we can do that.
I'll make a motion to grant a waiver to allow work in the 50-foot no-build zone for 12 and 17 Cherry Hill Drive, DEP number 14-1438.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, next up, we need to have a motion to issue the order of conditions with any conditions we want to attach to that.
All right, well, I'll make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for 12 and 17 Cherry Hill Drive, DEP file number 14-1438, applicant Millipore, with the condition that the applicant post a bond in the amount of $25,000. Any special conditions?
Well, I think just as to further elaborate on that bond, just to ensure that the work is done according to plan, obviously, and to make sure that the plantings are viable.
Yeah, to ensure that the plantings are viable, to ensure that the work is completed as represented, and in the event it isn't, then the bond would be there to take care of that.
Right.
Um,
And,
that's
okay,
all
the
I
motion's
have.
been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Before we proceed with the vote, just a quick question, family. The project will be supervised, not supervised, but checked in on
Yes.
periodically? 'Cause
Yep,
there's a
absolutely.
lot of work within our jurisdictional
Yeah.
areas that we want to make
Yeah,
sure.
we'll be checking in on that
Right, right.
regularly, yeah.
And also that the stormwater business will get done.
Yes,
So
absolutely.
are we saying we need someone there on
Well, I think
site?
they visit.
Yeah, we visit,
But-
between myself and Brian Cassidy, we kind of make the rounds quite regularly. So, and I'll be checking in with the attorney
Well,
man and the team throughout the process too.
That goes with any project, I
Right.
suppose.
Yeah.
But it's just good to reinforce it.
Yeah, all right.
All right, so
fine.
the motion's been made and seconded, so all in favor?
Aye.
Okay,
Okay.
so good luck.
Good luck.
We look forward to seeing
Yeah,
the
we look
project
forward to
unfold.
seeing that project.
Yeah.
Perfect. Great, thank you.
Bye-bye.
Good luck.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay,
Thank you, guys.
next up is, just want to make sure we're on the same. A request for a determination of applicability for 216 Maple Street, RDA file -2025-03. The applicant is Boston Gas Company, doing business as National Grid. And we have someone representing us online? or
Yes.
represent-
Hi, good evening, everybody. Can you all hear me?
Good
Yes.
evening.
Great. My name is Tracy Sedhalter, and I just wanted to apologize for not being able to make it in person tonight, but thank you all for allowing me to discuss the project with you online. So the proposed project is to install approximately 575 feet of buried gas main within the right-of-way, the road right-of-way in Maple Street, from the corner of Summer Street and then heading 575 feet east from that intersection. As of right now, approximately 40 feet of that proposed gas main will occur within bordering land subject to flooding. Obviously, there's a lot of exemptions both within the Wetlands Protection Act as well as I believe that you also recognize the exemptions for utility maintenance. The project is mostly going to be utility maintenance, and it'll be, digging up within the roadway, installing the gas, replacing gas mains, and then repaving the road, but approximately a small portion of this is going to be brand new pipe to connect to existing gas mains that are in the area. So we don't think that we can necessarily meet that exemption based on our description of work. So what we're asking is that both under limited project and, that we're an existing utility in the area, typically there are exemptions for conducting work within the roadway that we can go forward with doing the work without needing to submit a full NOI. The project, will go through, dig up the area, and then completely repave it. Once the work is complete, there's no loss of flood storage as a result of the project, which is really the main concern of what the Wetland Protection Act would be getting at for that area that is within the bordering land subject to flooding. It's already a developed roadway. It's going to be repaved to exactly the same standards that are already there. So there won't be any loss of flood storage. Boston Gas Company will use best management practices during construction. They'll utilize, and that at the end of the document, there's a very large BMP document that the company utilizes during work to ensure that they're not going to be impacting, or having any significant erosion or runoff or things like that would be applicable to the project. I've rambled on a little bit. Does anybody have any questions that I can answer? Or are there any concerns that I can address based off of the information that I provided?
Either you or Emily could just give us a quick overview of the limited project. I know we've seen these before, but just to have it
Yeah,
out there.
Tracy, do you want to hop into that, the limited project exemption?
Yeah, sure, of course. Yep. Okay, so I'm just gonna scroll through on my own things just so I make sure I don't say anything. Hold on, that's the wrong one. Sorry, give me 1 second. So under eligible limited project, it qualifies as a public utility under 310 CMR 10.53D. And it would be, and could be considered beyond the scope of the utility maintenance provision. Limited project. Okay. Due to the nature of the work and location, the minor disturbance.
I see this as necessary work.
That's what I'm trying to get.
Yeah.
That's what they're saying about the limited.
So-
Yeah.
Right.
And
That's why
so,
they have these
part
limited
of-
projects, because they have to go in and fix pipes.
Right.
yeah. And so part of this is the Danvers roadway will be going and doing work in Danvers in the Maple Street Road right of way coming up shortly here as well. So obviously we want to get in and do the work prior to any paving that the town's going to be doing or any roadway work that you guys are going to be doing, so we're out of your way. So that's part of why we're trying to get in during this construction season to make sure we're getting all of our work done prior to you guys getting out there and doing your own work.
Okay, good. Have any more to say, or should we begin with our questions?
I think you guys can begin with questions. Sometimes I feel like asking questions can help to drive the conversation.
What is the
so.
timing of this project?
Upon approval, we're planning to be out there and get it done within 4 weeks. So ASAP.
So before winter, and are we the only approval that
Yeah.
you need?
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that's all I have for questions. Mike, any questions?
Questions?
Lorraine? Mary?
I'm
None?
good.
Any public question, comments? Sir?
Andrew Height, Town Precinct Member 4. I'm assuming in this plan you are going to protect the storm drains? Like put nets or something on it so the stuff can't go in?
Yeah, that's so, as part of our best management practices, those types of items are taken care of and ensure that there's no significant items that end up in there, and that's typically part of our erosion control, just to make sure nothing ends up in there. So, yep.
And I also know this is probably all the purview of this committee, but I just learned that this is going to go from Summer Street all the way down to Locust Street eventually?
No.
Another
it's
project?
The project that's proposed that we're here for, it's approximately 575 feet from the corner of Summer Street all the way down. If you're off of Locust Street, when we were working with town officials to ensure that everybody got notified, I believe that some of those areas got included just because of the regulations for what is required as part of notifications. So the area you're seeing is just the 575 feet within Maple Street from the corner of Summer Street headed east.
Oh, okay, because I thought it was going all the way towards downtown too. Not this project, but another related gas line project related to this one, but not.
I can't talk about the other project. I don't know about it. I'm just working on this one.
That's it.
Sorry about that.
All right, thank you.
And I know you said you're going to start this as soon as possible, like this month, next month? Just like when school starts?
Yeah, it's going, again, we're in August and we're starting to butt up against the end of construction season, snow will be flying before you know it. So obviously we have to wait for approvals and things like that, but the hope is once we get approvals, it should take approximately a month, give or take, to complete the work, so.
Thank you.
Okay, thanks. So this is a public hearing? Okay, so we first thing to do is, Bill, go ahead. I was ready to go ahead. So we have to close the public hearing and give them a negative determination. A negative determination.
Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I know they said 4 weeks. Can they give us an approximate time of start? Not necessarily a specific, but an approximate time? Would that be possible?
I would say I would expect sometime in September, October. So,
September or
I would
October.
say within the next 4 to 6 weeks, I would expect to see start of construction.
Thank you, because there's going to be a town project involved on Beaver Park Road coming down Maple Street from Summer Street. That was my concern, because I believe the town is going to start some kind of a project. Are you aware of that?
Yes, that's why we're out trying to get this done. Yes.
Okay. Thank you.
Yep, and Boston Gas Company is in coordination with the town to make sure that we're not overlapping each other.
Okay. That it for public comments? So what do we think? We've heard enough? We ready to vote?
Yeah, ready to.
Okay, so first thing we need to do is close the public hearing.
I make a motion to close the public hearing for the Maple Street gas main installation, DCC number 2025-03.
Is there a
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, now we need a motion to extend a negative
I'll make a
determination.
motion that we find that this is a limited project entitled to a negative determination of applicability, that the applicant ensure best management practices as stated in staff comment, and that the list work be overseen, Emily?
Yes.
In other words, to start this work, do they have to go before the building inspector, get permits?
I believe so, Tracy. You may need other permits from other departments. I'm not sure. I could check with engineering. They'd be the first ones to check with,
Well,
but.
let the applicant get all necessary permits.
Oh, yes, of course. Yeah.
And-
Tracy, they'll get all the necessary
And
permits
as
they
a
need.
last thing, should the applicant find out that there is additional work that needs to be done, that they come back?
Sure.
Well,
Does that sound okay, Tracy?
you know what I'm saying?
Yes.
In other words, if you say, oh, there's more here than we thought,
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yep, no, we're only going to do the work that is being permitted here, and if anything else comes up, obviously we'll bring back another permit and come back.
all right, thank you. That's the motion.
Is there a second?
I second, yeah.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, so we look forward to seeing more traffic disruptions and streets being dug up.
And Tracy, I'll email you tomorrow. I'll get you everything you need.
Just
Sounds
pave-
good. Thanks so much,
just
folks.
pave
Appreciate
it
your
when you're
time
done.
tonight. Have a good night.
Thank you.
So we had, next up is a request for certificate of compliance for 35 Doty Ave, DEP file number 14-0883. The applicant is Edward Doherty and Bob Griffin.
Oh, yeah.
Good evening. Bob Griffin on behalf of Ed and Karen Doherty. Ed and Karen moved into this house approximately 2003, and in 2002, the commission issued actually, by the way, before I get going, there's 2 certificates of compliance for this property on the agenda tonight, and I don't know if you want to deal with them together or separate. It might be more convenient to deal with them together, but I'll do whatever you
I
prefer.
think since they're agenda items, we'll have to vote on them separately, but if
Okay.
it makes sense for you to weave them into your narrative,
Okay.
feel free.
All right, so we'll focus mostly on the house here at first, but the house involved an addition, this on the west side, so, a porch, some second floor on the whole structure, a variety of architectural improvements to the entire building and basically updating it for modern use. In 2003, while this permit was underway, they came back with a request to add this pool. And one of the interesting features of this site is that the town line runs through the property. So this area to the right, or to the east, is in Beverly, and everything else, of course, is in Danvers. We had to go to Beverly and get an order of conditions for the work in Beverly, and earlier this week, the Beverly Conservation Commission issued a certificate of compliance for the work in Beverly. So the Beverly side is administratively complete. The reason we're here is that the Dohertys are selling their house. There's a real estate transaction pending. They never came back to the commission and requested a certificate of compliance. So these, that sort of explains the old nature of this order. So it's 2002, 2003 was the modification for the pool.
Excuse me, Bob, one quick sec. Did they do the original application for the order of conditions?
In 2002?
Yes.
Yes, they did. Yep. And they've raised their children there, and now the children are college age and maybe even a little bit older, and so it's time to turn this over for another generation. But so in this 23 years since the original order was issued, they have made some modifications to the property that didn't go through the notice of intent process, and so I'm going to explain what those deviations are here. The first, most notable, is this area right here is what was a sport court. So when the kids were young, there was a playground in that area, and as the kids grew up, no longer using the playground anymore, so they built a level sport court with I think at the time it had a fence around it, so they kept the balls from going into the BVW here. There's one of the characteristics of the site is that there's a very dense mat of Phragmites that runs along the entire width of the property. And then when I look back at the 2002, 2003 photographs, that dense mat of Phragmites is not there. So that just developed naturally over the years. But, as a means of keeping, activity out of the Phragmites, keeping balls and things like that out of the Phragmites, they've added some rocks at the ground surface. And if we get to the photographs, we'll be able to see those. They're basically granite stones that demarcate.
Do we have photographs?
There are some photographs that were included with our narrative, and it does, I think, a pretty good job of demarcating the lawn from the Phragmites.
Could we see those and then come back to this drawing?
Yeah, of course, yeah.
Please.
Yep, and I can, I'll try to grab them here.
Okay. While we're looking for that, there was a minor change in the driveway. So this originally was proposed to be a gravel driveway, and it's now a pervious paver driveway. It's the kind of pavers that have pretty good sized openings in it, and Mr. Doherty recalls coming back to the conservation agent, he said, and talking about changing from gravel to the pavers, and there's actually a picture of him there. So his driveway allows a lot of water through it, probably better for the environment than the gravel. Certainly there's no silt emanating from the pervious paver driveway as compared to a gravel driveway anyways. And then if we go down to the next picture, there's a bluestone patio, and this is an open joint bluestone patio behind the building, so it allows water to go down through it. So this was, I think sometime in the last 7 or 8 years, this bluestone patio was installed. You can also see just to the left side of the photograph, there's a lot of pea stone here. There's pea stone basically underneath the deck, and all of the roof drainage is directed into the pea stone layer. So there's no, there's no signs of runoffs that are going directly into the wetlands or anything like that. There's no signs of erosion. There was some stepping stones installed between the back patio right there and the driveway, basically to make it, an all-weather surface connecting the two areas. Let's look at the next couple of pictures, please. This is the pool. Again, most of this pool is in Beverly, but the town line sort of cuts through just to the left of where that picture is taken. There's the upper portion of the pool deck, and so to the left side of the photograph is in Danvers. The right side is in Beverly. Go on to the next.
You said that they received a certificate of compliance from Beverly?
Yes, it was just Tuesday night. I was at the Beverly Conservation Commission.
And was the work that was approved from Beverly according to plan that was originally submitted?
There was some deviations. The pool shifted a little bit, actually sort of moved from its proposed location to closer to the house. So that moved it out of Beverly a little bit and into Danvers a little bit. There was some trees that were taken down over the years and replaced with some pine trees. And so those were the issues that the Beverly Conservation Commission discussed. But yes, they issued a certificate of compliance earlier this week. You can see in the photograph here, here's these granite stones that separate the Phragmites from the lawn, and basically those exist across the entire width of the property. Let's go up a little bit more. The next one. Here's the sport court. This is the area that used to be a jungle gym kind of a setup, and then as the kids grew up, it became a sport court. So that wasn't on the 2002 plan. There's that 48-inch stump, which goes up several feet, but that was on the plan back in 2002. There was, if we, let's see, oh yeah, there's that rock border again, demarcating. I actually like the rock border. I think it's a betterment, and it does a good job of permanently demarcating the lawn from the Phragmites.
The bright area in that picture, is that the water?
So the water beyond the Phragmites, this is, again, the area of Phragmites behind the lawn here, and this is the rock border. I'll show you that in the site plan, if we can go back to the site plan now, please. So this is that curving line coming back towards Doty Avenue right there, that last picture was taken. So, you know, here's the Phragmites behind the lawn, and then there's an area of salt marsh. You know, Phragmites requires fresh water to grow in. The salt marsh requires saline water. So this is about, you know, the approximate mean high water demarcation between the salt marsh and the Phragmite line. And I also pointed out this out in my narrative. The BVW line from 2002 is here, and there's been a loss of BVW right here. So this pier was originally proposed to be 80 feet long, so it was about 10 feet further back. It was built at 70 feet long. I'm not sure why that happened, but there's a loss in this area right here of about 450 square feet of, you know, what probably was Phragmites and now is lawn. And so, again, Mr. Doherty and Mrs. Doherty would like to sell the property, and they acknowledge that some things happened without an order of conditions, but at this point, we'd like to try to close the project out, and we're happy to discuss any ways of mitigating for these issues. And that's what I'd like to discuss tonight.
I guess my first general question is, what has been the impact of what they've done on the wetlands? Or is that even our jurisdictional area? I guess I'm asking, you know, what's the adverse impact has it been? And that's probably should ask Emily that.
So I think that, you know, conversion of this little portion of BVW to lawn is certainly an impact. When I look at the health of the adjacent, you know, BVW, the health of the vegetation just generally in the area, it looks fine. I mean, the property's been well taken care of. There's no signs of erosion. There's, you know, no sign. I think what is a little surprising to me has been the extent that Phragmites have occupied this whole strip here. Again, back looking at my older photographs, it didn't look that way. I don't think that the Dohertys have done anything to cause the Phragmites to accelerate necessarily. But, you know, we do have, you know, Phragmites, as you know, can just grow and grow, and that seems to be what has happened here.
Was the area where it is disturbed at all?
No, so they never went into the BVW area with any work. I mean, I can see from, with the exception of this little area here, they've respected that lawn edge that existed in 2002, so there's been no change there. I think they've left it alone.
I'm just ill at ease with, you know, all this work that, you know, they had permits for, and then they did things differently, and didn't come back until it was time to sell.
It is a little unusual, I'll grant that, and I was going to suggest tonight, if you thought that a site walk would help sort of, you know, help us try to come to some way of addressing this, we'd be happy to do that. The one thought that does come to mind is to the extent that, we could add some mitigation plantings over here to make up for the loss of the BVW here. We'd be happy to do that. We're certainly open to whatever suggestions you have.
The invasives that are there now really appeared there through nature. It wasn't
Right.
as a result of the work that was done.
That's my
right?
contention, yes. Right. And I think there was Phragmites in the area in 2002. I just don't think it was quite so dense and occupied, so it wasn't so noticeable across the property at that time.
Okay, just as I get going here, I'm on a tangent now. But the pier that goes out, does that go across a marsh?
It does, and it's an elevated fixed pier, and so it goes,
That's done the way according to plan?
with the exception of this 10 feet that somehow got lopped off for some reason, the pier's pretty as designed. There's a gangway here, there's a float, and the float has the legs on it that were required. So I don't think there's any significant deviations in the pier and
So
the float and the
float
gangway.
doesn't sit on the mud, it's got the 30-inch,
I don't think it's 30 inches, but back in 2002, I don't think we were necessarily requiring
Right, we
30
weren't.
inches at that time. And there might be a photograph, I don't know if we have a photograph of that.
Let me see if I can find that.
Let's see.
what do you think? Should we go
Well,
for a site visit?
Yeah, you can't really see the legs holding the float up, but they're there, and there are a couple of photographs that just show the general construction of the pier. The pier is, again, constructed pretty much as designed.
Okay. All right, any other questions, Mo?
Well, yeah, I mean, I'd like to go out and see if anything needs to be undone.
Okay?
Also, where the Phragmite is, and we're now saying that's the water of the wetland now?
Well, essentially, that Phragmites have taken over that, again, it was undisturbed and left alone, and the Phragmites have just occupied that area, so.
So there was work that should have been, would have or should have required them to come back before us. You agreed?
That's correct.
And it wasn't. So I'd like to see the nature of that, and also the border that you talked about that was put in.
The rocks?
Was that put in to try to stop the spread of the Phragmite, or why was that put in?
So I think it was probably primarily to keep the kids' soccer balls and toys from, going into that Phragmite area. And I think, I don't know that it really serves as a permanent.
I wonder if it should be pulled up, or what purpose it serves.
Well, I think we should go take a look at it, but I think that what it does today is it provides a good demarcation between lawn and Phragmites. And so I think, it's obvious for a homeowner not to, go past the granite markers, the granite line.
The interesting point here, I'd like to address with staff. So the bordering vegetated wetland has probably changed over the 20 years?
Most likely, yeah. Most likely there's
So
been changes to
do
it.
we need to reestablish that, or?
I mean, I can compare the plans from then until now and try to overlay them and see
Yeah.
how much of a change there is, if that would be
good.
Okay.
All right, so I'd like to go out
Okay?
and see, I'm not saying I'm not for it or against it, but I'd like to see the,
I know it's an unusual application, and I'm happy to meet you out there.
this is the thing we always try to avoid, coming back so many years later.
Yeah, we always want people to come back and get everything closed out in
Right.
2 or 3 years. Okay, Lorraine, any questions?
Same concerns that Mike has, I think. Going out and seeing it
Okay.
is the best thing to do.
Mary?
I'm good.
All right, so I guess we can ask for any public comment if there is any. If not, we're just going to proceed with, I think we'll have to continue and make plans to have a site visit.
Yes, yep, and I
And-
believe that the harbor master was interested in coming to the site visit too, to check out the pier. I was talking to him earlier today, and he'd like to be a part of that too. Yeah.
Okay. And is the second agenda item, the DEP file number 14-0163, how does that relate to that? Do we,
That's the pier.
and
So
what's the,
the applicant applied in 2006 for permission to install the pier, and the commission approved it, so he has two incomplete orders of condition.
Two applications.
Yes.
in the pier was, chapter 91 was granted? And
Yep.
So, and it's done to plan, it just needs to be closed out?
with the exception of that 10 feet that I mentioned.
Okay,
Yeah.
all right. Well, why don't we continue on that too, just so we get out there and see everything?
Pier or wait?
No,
do
but
the
soon
walk?
both.
No, the harbor master would like to see the pier.
Oh, you would?
Yeah.
Oh, good, thanks for that.
No, this, we don't want to paint ourselves into a corner. Okay, so, someone make a motion to continue, like, why don't we do it, just say items 5 and 6, instead of saying it all over
All
again?
right, I make a motion that we continue the hearings for the matter of 35 Doty Ave, DEP file number 14-0883, request for certificate of compliance, and also the matter of 35 Doty Avenue, DEP file number 14-1063, also a request for certificate of compliance, that we continue both those matters to...
The
what's on
28th?
The
Is that-
28th.
Do we
28th
have
is the
enough
next
time
one.
to get a site visit?
I think so. We can get something in for the 23rd, right?
Yeah, we should, because then we go, well, I think we have 3 weeks after
So the
we,
28th,
to the next meeting.
Okay.
I'll second.
and we'll coordinate a time to go out there?
Yep,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, the motion's been made and seconded, all in favor? Aye. Okay, so that's 5 and 6. Notice of intent, 46 Riverside Street, DEP file number 14-140. The applicant has requested that we continue to 8/28.
Yep.
So if someone can make a motion, we will continue until then.
I request we make a motion to continue the hearing for 46 Riverside Street, DEP number 14-1440, to August 28th, 2025.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, so next up is a notice of intent for 10 Tibbetts Ave, DEP file number 14-1441. And the applicant is David and Kristen Taylor, and Mr. Griffin is here to represent them as well.
Right. So, thank you. This is a relatively small building lot on Tibbetts Avenue, about 8,700 square feet, I think. And in the last year, the house was rebuilt and sold in the fall to the Taylors. They've moved in and enjoying the property, but would like to have access to the water through a very small pier. And in some ways similar to the one that you saw at Doty Avenue, in that it doesn't provide, deep water access, but it does provide access, in the upper portions of the tidal cycle, and certainly would be a nice amenity to the property. So they've certainly kept the property in good shape since last year. The proposal is, if you remember, there was a line of shrubs in the backyard, and so the proposal is just to extend a fixed pier 43 feet from the shrubs over a salt marsh into the mud area, and then have a 40-foot gangway going down to a float, and this float will have legs providing the 30 inches of separation. This is the 210 square feet that Danvers requires. So it requires a total of, I think, 6 and 10 piles. So we've got 2 in the shrub bed here. We've got 2 here in the middle of the salt marsh,
I think so.
and 2 in the mud area, holding up the fixed portion of the pier. And then we have 2 holding up the end of the gangway, or with a winch set up so that you could raise the gangway up in the off-season or when a storm was coming. And we'll see that on the profile in a minute. And then a couple holding the float in place as well. Well, let's go to the cross-section if we could, please, the next
We have
sheet.
an overall street view. Which house is
Oh.
10 Tibbetts?
Oh, I can show you.
What,
And if you remember the house, it's still under construction. This is right next door to it.
that's the house that was demolished, right?
It was demolished, that's correct,
Right.
yep.
Okay, so that whole cove, that at low tide, there's no water there.
You're absolutely right, yep.
Okay, so, and they're gonna have everything up on legs, and do they wanna have a boat?
I don't know that they're,
And,
that
'cause
they
the
have
boat
a
would- the
big.
boat can't
I
rest
think
on the
this
mud
is-
either.
I think this looks like more like paddleboard, kayak kind of access.
Perfect.
But anyways, one of the requirements is that we provide 4 feet of separation above the salt marsh, because this is 4 feet wide, and I'll talk a little bit more about this as we go along, but the typical requirement is a 1-to-1 ratio of height to width, so that there's no shading impacts to the salt marsh. We also are required to have a minimum of 5 feet of separation at mean high water. to provide for passage under the Chapter 91 rules, so this exceeds that by a couple of feet. And again, we're just, providing access out into the tidal cycle. We're not getting all of it. We're getting probably the upper portion of it only. We received today a letter from DMF, and DMF is changing the criteria a little bit on the shading impact. They're saying that what they really want to have is 1.5 to 1. So if we had a 4-foot wide pier, that would be 1.5 of that would be 6 feet. So they'd want to see 6 feet of separation here instead of 4 feet of separation. So the simple answer would be just to raise this up 2 feet. I did have a little email exchange with Mr. and Mrs. Taylor this afternoon, and it's starting to get a little higher than they would like. And so that what we will probably do is we'll reduce the width to 3 feet, and then we'll end up with at a 1.5 to 1 ratio. That would be 4.5 feet. And so we'd just go from 4.1 to 4.5 feet.
It would shrink the width.
At least in this first section here, this first 20-foot length. Anyway, so, and then we could go to 4 feet, I suppose, over here where we have 7 feet of clearance.
What happens the off-season? How much of that gets either removed or taken down, or?
So the floats can be floated to a boatyard and then brought up on land. That would be my preferred solution. Some people do leave them in year-round. The gangway should be hoisted up out of the, so it's not going up and down all the time and is out of the area where storm and ice could potentially affect it. There's a little bit of work near the shoreline to, they have a fence around the property, so to tie the fence into this structure. But this is a pretty straightforward wooden pier construction such as we have permitted in many other locations and built.
There was nothing there before. There was no earlier pier there.
That I don't recall seeing any pier remnants in this area, no.
It's quite an improvement to that piece of property. from what
It
was
is.
there 5 years ago.
The deck material would be plastic, so it'll either be Trex decking or the through flow decking that you've seen in some of the other piers. Anyways, that's pretty much all I have to say. I'd be happy to address any questions.
I don't have any questions at the moment, but Mike, do you have any?
No questions.
All right.
Lorraine, any questions? Lorraine, any questions?
No, I don't know. I guess maybe one for Emily. I was reading the harbor master's letter, and I guess what I would like to know, I mean, it's a compelling letter, and he's concerned about the increasing number of private water dependent structures being proposed. So like I guess I'm trying to get a vision, like how many in the last year or two of these structures have been proposed? Is this becoming, or is this anticipated to become more of a future issue of the town because of the number of private water structures?
Everyone going for deep water, what they
Yeah.
call, so they want to keep extending, and
Yeah.
then you can't traverse
So
the area.
that's a problem. So it's
Yeah.
like, so how many people, I mean, what are we talking about in terms of numbers? Do we have to be concerned about
Right, but
precedents
I
being
think
set?
Chris's comments are for this or for the 46 Riverside?
They were more for the navigable channel would be more affected by 46 Riverside than by this one. But that is something that myself and Chris and Town Council have been talking about moving forward, so it wouldn't necessarily impact this proposal. But it is something that we've been talking about with the amount of applications coming in for private
Yeah,
pier and
I
float
guess
systems.
it is.
We've been getting more and more of them, so trying to figure out the best ways to regulate that, to keep a public waterway access free and clear for the public,
But
essentially.
a project of this size would be welcome.
Yeah, this,
Because
yeah.
That's
it's
different,
fairly
but-
short,
Yeah,
it's only
this is
6
different.
miles.
I guess
and
I
then
was
what's-
just,
But you
Yeah,
know
which
what,
is like the
Liza?
overall, yeah.
Have all the members been out on the river? Because occasionally Chris takes us out and we look at some of the projects.
I can ask them about that. That'd be great,
I'd
yeah.
like to do that again this summer.
Absolutely,
Summer's
yes.
out.
Nice boat ride before the summer's over?
No, you love it.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah.
it's good.
We should do that.
Okay,
You
yeah, I'll
take,
talk about
would you
it.
mention that to
Absolutely,
Chris? Thank you.
yes.
And one of the things I do want to point out, though, is that, we aren't obstructing, use of the waterway in that we have 7 feet of clearance from mean high water to the underside of the pier. And so that's really, if you're in a kayak or a canoe or something like that, there's plenty of room to get through that opening. These are 20 feet apart. So So that's part of our design consideration.
Yeah, I was just
And
curious.
that little cove too is just, it's
Yeah.
not navigable. It's
Yeah.
not, the channel is
Right,
far
right.
away.
It's a different situation, you're right about that.
Yeah.
Okay, so where are we at? So we've had a lot of questions. Is there any public questions, comments? Seeing none? Mr. Bradstreet?
Again, Bill Bradstreet, Town Meeting Member, Precinct 1. I thought I heard the length of the pier was 10 feet. Is there anything that would prevent them from coming back and adding more length to that?
Well, they have to come back and ask.
Yeah,
They can come back and ask. It'll be up to you, but if it...
Right, in harbor master comments
right.
and so forth.
Okay, so we're not hindering them from going further into the channel?
No, they have to come back and ask permission.
I like that.
But yeah, this is nowhere near the channel for the boats to get out.
Okay,
Runwood.
thank you.
I think this project is sized properly for the area.
Actually, I think, are there piers on the other side, on the Beverly side?
There is, yeah, there's, what's the name of that? I've circled, well, anyways.
Right, and not far from there is all those piers I told you about, that are very long.
Yeah.
But they're on the river, they're on the river.
Foster's Point is the area of Beverly that...
What was the name of the point?
Foster's Point is the area of Beverly that's on the opposite side of this.
Okay. Okay, so I've lost my place, but I think our first vote is to close the public hearing, is that correct? So if someone can do that,
Are we voting on this then?
after we close the public hearing. Why, did you want to go out for a visit? I think this one's pretty straightforward, I don't... Okay, so if someone can make a motion to close the public hearing, we will do that.
I'll make a motion to close the public hearing for 10 Tibbetts Avenue, DEP number 14-1441.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, so now we know to decide if we want to issue an order of conditions for this project. And my feeling is that we should. So if someone thinks differently, now's the time to speak. Otherwise, let's make a motion to do that.
All right, I'll make a motion that we issue an order of conditions for 10 Tibbetts Avenue, DEP file number 14-1441, that takes into consideration the comments from the Division of Fisheries, August 14, 2025, which specifically addresses the pier, gangway, and float at 10 Tibbetts Ave, and the, I think the compromise that the applicant made with them regarding the clearance issue and the width of the pier. Is that correct?
Yes.
And those plans will be submitted,
We can,
revised plans?
yeah, I can, you know, obviously I can't do it right this second, but, you know, in the next day or two, we'll submit a plan to Emily, and it'll show the 1.5 to 1 ratio of width to height clearance over the salt marsh.
Consistent with the recommendations
Yes.
from the Division of Marine Fishery.
Works for me.
Okay. That's the motion.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, and just,
Do we need
Bob,
to
is
do
your...
the second one?
is your-
The second motion? To grant a waiver to allow to work?
I didn't see that.
Because we did this one, we did that one, but we didn't do the second.
Oh, good catch. All right, so we've closed the public hearing, so we have to vote on this waiver.
All right, well, I make a motion that we issue a waiver to allow work within the, what area?
Just show us that on the plan, and this is,
If we go back to the next one, I think.
Yeah, I don't think that was discussed.
Well,
it wasn't.
so, we have the 35-foot offset from the no disturb zone here, from the, no, excuse me, from the salt marsh here. We have a little bit of work here with the stairs and a couple of piles in that 35-foot, in the 0 to 35-foot zone. That's what that waiver is referring to.
okay. All right, someone can make a
Well,
motion.
Mary can do it, she found it.
I make a motion to grant a waiver to allow work in the 35-foot no disturb zone for 10 Tibbetts Avenue, DEP number 14-1441.
I'll second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right, let's do the whole order of conditions over again. So, Mike, I think you had done that, so.
Yeah, all right. So now that we've granted the waiver, which really was a prerequisite to issuing an order of conditions, we're going to issue an order of conditions to allow the work on the condition that the applicant work is consistent with the memo from the Commonwealth of Mass Division of Fisheries dated August 14, 2025, which specifically addresses the pier, gangway, and float at 10 Tibbetts Avenue, that the applicant has represented that they will refile their plans to reflect the changes they made to accommodate the comments from the Division of Marine Fisheries regarding the width of the pier and the clearance issue. Correct?
Correct.
That's it.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
I'll second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Two quick notes, Bob, before we let you go. There was no boat storage as part of your application, so if the applicant decides they want to have a boat, they have to store it above the 30 inches.
Okay.
Or they have to come back and ask for permission, but we would say you have to store it, can't be stored on the mud.
Oh, you know, I should have mentioned one other thing. Did you represent that the, in the off-season, the gang plant would be
It would be raised up.
raised
Yes.
up? We incorporate, and also what about the float at the end?
It can either remain in place or be taken to a boatyard.
All right, is there a recommendation on that?
I mean, if it wouldn't be in the mud if it rains in place, correct?
Well, no, I mean, at low tide in the
Oh, yeah.
winter, the
Right.
float comes down and
But,
rests
you know,
on,
it's
yeah,
to
either
their
way.
better interest to take it out.
Yeah.
Because of ice.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. Any other point?
We have, Pete wants to make a comment, I think.
Well, the hearing's closed.
No. Once it's closed, it's,
Well, I
Yeah.
could move to reopen it.
No, let's just proceed. I'm sorry, but your other client waited 20 years to come back for a certificate of compliance. I just want to emphasize, and I do this for pretty much everyone, you know, there's a 3-year limit for these with 1-year extension possible. So just try and come back for, you know, having the work done and getting the certificate within that time frame.
I appreciate the statement.
Good, thank you. Okay, so now moving on to old and new business. I finally found all the minutes, so I've reviewed them, and I'm presuming the other members of the commission have, so I think I would like to have a motion to accept the minutes for all 3 of those meetings. So if someone can read that out, we will do that.
I'll make a motion to accept the minutes of the June 12th, 2025 Conservation Commission meeting and the June 26th, 2025 Conservation Commission meeting and the July 24th, 2025 Conservation Commission meeting.
I second the motion.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Excuse me, can I vote on that if I wasn't here because I've...
if you've
the
reviewed
Mullins?
everything, then yeah. Mhm.
Okay, aye.
So thorough, Mike, I like that. And Emily, do you have any news for us?
Yes, we have a new member. Sorry, this table's a little shaky here. He will be coming in end of August to get appointed and sworn in at Town Hall, and we'll be meeting with him, get him up and running, and he should be joining us come September.
What's his name? What's his background?
Sure, Derek Bergman. He grew up in Danvers
Yeah.
and has moved back to the area. He did.
Yeah,
your
graduate,
na-
my kid's his age.
Yes, he mentioned that he knew you. Yeah.
Yeah.
He has
Good
moved
kid.
back into the area and is very excited to join to get involved.
Bob.
And
See you,
seems
Bob.
like he'd be a wonderful addition.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah,
He's a
we'll
good
get him. And I'm
kid.
going to send him recordings from some recent meetings as well, so we can.
But he won't be at our next meeting.
No, he won't be sworn in by that point. No,
Okay,
he's not
so
going to sworn until after the 20th.
Hopefully everyone's available for 8/28.
Yeah, 8/28. It's going to be you 4 if everyone can make it, and hopefully after that we'll get him in and
Good.
get moving.
Good. There's an extra seat for him somewhere.
Yeah.
Okay, someone make a motion to adjourn.
I make a motion to adjourn the meeting.
Second.
All in favor? Aye. Okay, great. Thank you all.
Great, thank you, everyone.